for What? Episode 6. Welcome along, Marc Farzetta to the program. Marc, Temple made. He's been around the block and then some. There, you will not find a more genuine, authentic Philadelphia voice than Marc Farzetta. But real quick, on a personal note, back in 2019, I believe, you were emceeing a Philadelphia Wings game. And I participated in the halftime events where things got a little physical with Wingston, the mascots.
All right, who's going to get the ball? Smitty, Adidas. There you go. Oh, an amazing turn of events. Smitty and Wingston are going at
it. Do you remember that?
Yeah, because every time I see Wingston, because I'm still the PA guy for the Wings, he brings it up. He's like, have you seen that Smitty character recently? And I'm like, yeah, man, if I see him, I'll tell him you're still looking for him.
Good. I mean, if he wants to bring it again, he can bring it. But, I mean, it was a complete bundle situation that he might have or might have not deserved. I'm going to say he didn't, but he got it, and it is what it is. And I'm glad. he's still asking for it.
It was a good time, a lot of fun. Was it halftime entertainment, or was it just like in between periods?
It was entertainment. It was something. we can just put it down to that.
It was heated. It was heated.
What's your take on the World Baseball Classic and the Philadelphia Phillies participating?
Love it. I'd rather them do that than spring training, especially when it puts baseball on such a great stage. And I'm not someone that has been a huge fan of the World Baseball Classic. I don't know if it was because of the success in the Winter Olympics with men's and women's hockey that it made me more interested in anything Team USA. But I got really into this World Baseball Classic. Maybe it was Team Italy being such a great story as well. And I, of course, have a rooting interest there. But I was pulling for USA. I am pulling for Team USA and all that. I wanted to see Bryce Harper. I wanted to see Kyle Schwarber and all that. And, of course, the other Phillies scattered about. Even Dante Nori for the Italians. When Bryce Harper came out before spring training and said, yeah, I'm healthy, I feel great, I feel awesome, right? And then in the offseason, you see him in the not elite shirt, so you know he heard the Dave Dombrowski quotes. I'm thinking, all right, you got a healthy Bryce Harper, you got a chip on his shoulder, Bryce Harper, let's go out there and do something, Bryce Harper. And then you see him in the WBC continue to be late on fastballs, although he did put a cutter up the middle the other night, 96-mile-per-hour cutter up the middle, that was a nice thing. But continuously late on those fastballs, not barreling up those baseballs like he used to. If you're telling me you're healthy, then I want to see the production. So if it's just a timing thing now, well, then hopefully he gets that straightened out by the time the actual season rolls around. But I'd rather them be in this competition on this stage playing together than just in spring training going through the motions.
Well, you are absolutely correct on that. It is real baseball. It is, beyond belief, real fun. I think these players, especially, I mean, you see it with the Dominican Republic, and you'll see it with Venezuela facing off against USA. They genuinely probably want to win more for their country than they do for their professional baseball team.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, I don't know about, Aaron Nola and Michael Lorenzen playing for Team Italy. Aaron Nola's been looking good. It is an even year. Michael Lorenzen, talking off the loss. You kind of stretch it a little bit, as did Mike Piazza when the first World Baseball Classic came, and he all of a sudden just said he's playing for Team Italy. I mean, that would be a Marc Farzetta move, but that's okay. That's well, okay. You're allowed to represent.
Only because I wouldn't be good enough to make the USA team. Let's just put that out there. Like, I'd gladly go and play for the Italians, of course. But I will say Piazza brought the OG espresso machine into the Italians' dugout some years ago, but I believe it was only a Nespresso machine. Then the other part of it was just on the
I wonder if his dad brought a couple of cars to frickin' give out to people, as you should have.
Yeah, I think that's how they sell. Instead of an espresso shot, his dad just gave a car to the guy who hit a home run. But I'll tell you, I was just talking to somebody that was down in Puerto Rico to watch the Puerto Rican team play. And he was down there with his two boys, and his wife went to get like concessions, whatever, hot dogs and stuff. And while she was away, she heard this huge ovation. And she goes, oh, did somebody hit a home run when she got back? Did somebody hit a home run? And he goes, no, that was the second out of the third inning, and somebody just made a really good catch. Like
That's that was insane.
That exactly.
And you go and experience sports over in Europe, Asia, Africa, like basically anywhere else around the world. It is 24/7 banana time. And if you can get that with baseball outside of the Savannah Bananas and postseason Red October in Philadelphia, Great, great. There might not be baseball after 2026 due to the salary cap or the world ending, but at least 2026, when the All-Star game's in Philly, we can get things going, get it cooking.
Absolutely. Here's my ultimate dream. This would be amazing. So you obviously have teams like Venezuela, you got Puerto Rico, you got Team Mexico, you got Japan, Korea, Team USA. I would love, in my heart of hearts, to one day see Italy have some hotshot prospects come out like once every few years. I'm not looking for the next Shohei Ohtani to come out of, Calabria, Italy. I'm not looking for that. I love it. I don't think it's happening. But just a couple of good names coming out of the Italian. Hey, Dante Nori, Italian-American, obviously. Would love to see him be a great prospect. But I'm talking about those guys from Italy. Italy become, almost like South Jersey has become for baseball players across the United States. Or hockey even. Something like that.
That's it. Rest in peace, Johnny G and Mike Trout's career a little bit.
Absolutely.
But he'll represent Millville. Calabrini, Italy? Is that weird? Is that the city you're name dropping?
I'm dropping. No, it's the region of Italy. It's the southernmost point. It's where my grandparents are from.
Gotcha.
Specifically, Maida, Catanzaro, Calabria, Italy. Boom, nailed it. There you go.
Where's Cinque Terre on that map?
Way north. Oh, we don't talk to those people. We don't talk to those people. They're north of Rome. Oh, those highfalutin bastards. Forget about it.
We'll go through a little rapid fire Philly sports questions. Most overrated Philly athlete right now.
Most overrated Philly athlete right now. I mean, with the guy that's in everyone's crosshairs right now is Bryce Harper. I mean, you got a president of baseball operations being so bold as to say, yeah, is he elite? Meh. Like, you want to talk about a guy that's still due, a large portion, like $27 million over the next 3-4 years before you get the grand low price of $22 million a year, and you're talking about him already declining? I would say a 2-time MVP, as much as I hate to say it, is extremely overrated. I go Bryce Harper. And then, unfortunately, because I know there's still a lot of people that want to defend him, Joel Embiid. Like, I know he's that good when he plays, but that good with that price tag is not going to still for the rest of his career unless VJ Edgecombe becomes Tyrese Maxey now, and Tyrese Maxey becomes as dominant as Joel Embiid can be.
Which both are a possibility.
Maybe, yeah. maybe Joel. I mean, here's the thing. It's going to end with Joel Embiid not making it out of a conference final. Not making it out of a conference, not making it out of the second round. He's not getting out. He's not getting out of his contract with the Sixers as an NBA champion, and that to me is just obviously a shame.
Do you think it's either of their faults, though?
I think Joel Embiid could have taken ownership of his own injuries earlier on instead of listening to the team. I mean, that ESPN article that came out before the season started was so telling about how he didn't feel good about his foot. The Sixers are like, no, you're fine. And then he's like, no, I'm telling you, I don't feel good about my foot. No, it's fine. And then they go see a doctor, and the doctor's like, his foot's messed up. And Embiid's like, I told you. So, like, how does that miscommunication happen? And I think he could have stayed in better shape, especially in the early portions of his career. And he's admitted to it. He could have eaten better earlier on in his career. And yet, no, not all of it is his fault. There are things that he certainly needs to take ownership for. But there's other aspects of, like, was it really his fault that Ben Simmons didn't learn how to shoot? Is it really his fault that Markelle Fultz was a bust? Is it really his fault that they went through 4 different general managers?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
You're telling it yourself, Mark. You're telling it yourself. Is it his fault that he's going to the Sixers medical staff and saying that his foot's fucked up?
Exactly.
And the Sixers medical staff that has a history of doing shit like this basically ignores it?
Mm-hmm. No,
I feel for Joe a little bit. I feel for Joe.
I do.
He's obviously not the 38 minutes a game dominant force that he kind of was during his MVP year. I mean, we're never going to see that again. But if he can give 20 minutes of primetime Joel and they can fix it up otherwise, which they won't because, as you alluded to, the help that he gets, he comes out and says blatantly, hey, it would be nice if we can make a trade at the deadline here and we don't hide the fact that we're trying to, I don't know, skate the luxury tax. And then Josh Harris and Daryl Morey, what do? They trade away a young, likable player that's fucking dominating for the Oklahoma City Thunder right now for nothing because of luxury tax reasons.
when
It's
Daryl
tough.
Morey said they traded McCain high, or they didn't trade him low. We don't feel like we traded him low. We feel like we traded him high. Okay, he was higher than the whatever it was, 27% he was shooting from three in the early months of the season. But you traded him when he was shooting 48% from three, actually showed that he was coming through it and getting to the other side where he could help you come off the bench and knock down a couple threes for you. Yeah, it wasn't as low as it was, but it was nothing close to as high as it could have been. No, I think one of the big things, when we talk to our grandchildren, okay, and they ask us, hey, what was the process like, What are you going to tell them? I think all of us that are being real about the situation are going to be like, hey, Sam Hinkie got all the chips in the house and had him there to himself, and then the NBA said you better cash him in, and you're going to use these three other people to cash him in, and that's between the Colangelos, both Jerry and Brian. That's a smattering of Brett Brown and Elton Brand, and then obviously Daryl Morey. All those people were in charge of all those investments. Somebody's going to come along and mess that up, and unfortunately that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and Embiid gets blamed for it all.
Because he's the guy that's been here through it all, sure.
Exactly. And that's a shame. One quick note on Bryce Harper being overrated. I do agree with you that he isn't the player that he once was. That's pretty evident and obvious. But Dombrowski coming to say that when the cleanup hitter in the playoffs is Alec Boehm protecting Bryce Harper, it's tough. It's really tough. And also, that contract looks pretty fucking good, right?
That he looks like. I remember when that contract came out. I mean, we were already talking about money, even before the pandemic and everything. We were talking about money taking a big jump and whether or not he would have escalators in the contract, whether or not he would have out clauses in the contract and all that stuff. Yeah, no, they went for it. But I remember looking at it being like $27 million is going to feel like nothing in a few years. And $22 million is going to be a bargain rate in, by the time this contract is done. And then we see Bo Bichette. Who else? Kyle Tucker. We see all these mega Kajunga deals being signed throughout Major League Baseball, and this is before a work stoppage. So what's it going to look like in 2 years, especially? So, yeah, it's pretty wild.
It's going to be interesting. I'm not going to fault any player for getting a big Kajunga contract, though. Sure. When it's put in front of your face, like, what are you going to do?
No,
like,
not
it's
at all.
The system.
Not at all. But the other thing with Harper, real quick, though, in the WBC, you're seeing Aaron Judge hit behind him. So it's like, damn.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe Bryce is using this time to kind of work on things. Sort of work on that little trigger step. Maybe that's why he's a little behind.
Hey, for the Phillies' sake, I hope so. For the Phillies' sake, I hope so. But we know that he's on a stage right now, and the showman doesn't like to look bad on any big stage.
That's
right
fair.
now, hey, watch him go out. We're doing this before they play the championship, so watch him go out, hit 3 home runs, and
exactly.
What the hell do we know?
Exactly. Right, if he's playing, if DeRosa plays, well, we gotta think though is the championship game against Venezuela, is that an elimination game for Marc DeRosa? We gotta look and see if that truly is an important one to win.
I completely miscalculated. Like he was doing the math. Like, please, come on.
It doesn't matter. Most overrated in Philly. Who's the most underrated athlete right now?
Wow. Most underrated Philadelphia athlete right now. I mean, it makes me really want to go to hockey because, I mean, just generally speaking, it's so underrated. I'm going to go Trevor Zegras as underrated. I mean, the guy's having a phenomenal year. You got basically Atlanta wanting to ship him off. He says clear, and then all of a sudden shocks his career back to life here in Philadelphia. I mean, I think the guy's having a great year for the Flyers. He's been one of the highlights of a season that's been bumpy. They started out really well, hit an awful lull, and now they're back to at least being in playoff contention. I think when you look at under-the-radar guys, underrated guys, I think he's a big underrated guy. I think somebody else that would be a little bit more notable in one of the bigger sports, I think you'd have to look at the direction right now this season for what he could do this year for the Phillies. I hesitate to say it, but I'm buying into the Alec Boehm sweepstakes here because he's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right. I've come to the dark side here. Alec Boehm for me this year, I've talked about him not being a pop guy, not being a 25, 30 home run guy. He barely got to 20 2 years ago. He played the last game of the season, got to 20 home runs. Good for him. But if this guy could just do on a more consistent basis what he does normally well, which is hit with runners in scoring position, and he's your cleanup hitter, then all right, I'll take runs. I'll take runs as opposed to home runs as long as you're putting up those crooked numbers. If he can be that guy, and if he can take a leap forward offensively, the way we've seen him take a leap forward defensively, then we're talking about a guy who could get back to the All-Star game. So that, for me, I think he could be an underrated guy and a big difference maker for the Phillies in the upcoming seaon.
Yeah, I definitely think Alec Bohm can be a 100 RBI guy. If he
do you think he could be a 25 home run guy, 30 home run guy? Okay.
No. I think he could be a 20 home run guy that's also finds a way to knock in 100 RBIs if he's in the cleanup hole. But he shouldn't need to be in the cleanup hole. You see it, the blueprint compared to 08. You had guys like Shane Victorino and Jason Worth who kind of came out of nowhere to be not superstar level, but accentuate the superstars around them. If they can get these side guys to come up and be just something consistent around playoff time, because I'm sick and tired around October every single year since 2022, specifically the World Series in 2022, where they just shit their pants. And that's what it is. That's what it is at the plate. They overthink. They play the entire season as long ball warriors, which is great, which is fine. But when you need to do something to move guys over into scoring position by sacrificing your swing, hitting it to the right side, pulling sac flies, waiting to see a strike. I don't know. I don't know if it's a managerial thing or if it's a player-by-player thing, but something's got to change in October.
Harper, Schwarber, and Turner not bat 211 in the postseason, then I think we're off to a much better start than we were last year. But to your point, I've been saying that something very, very similar. The difference in the Philadelphia Phillies isn't going to be whether or not Bryce Harper could be an MVP again. I mean, I'll take it, but I'm not betting on it, okay? It won't be whether or not Kyle Schwarber hits 45 to 55 home runs again. I'll take it, but I'm not betting on it. The difference will be is if Justin Crawford is a legit 270, 275 hitting center fielder that gets on base, steals bases, and hits the ball in the gap. It'll be about Brandon Marsh being what he was more so in the last 4 months of the season as opposed to the first 2 months of the season. It'll be about Trey Turner doing exactly what he did last year again, but maybe with a little bit more pop. It's going to be about new guys coming up. Adolis Garcia in right field taking over for Nick Castellanos, hitting for a better average than 227 and hitting with 25 home runs, that kind of thing. That's what it's going to take. It's going to be new guys. It's going to be Andrew Painter at the back end of this rotation, Zach Wheeler being healthy. The newer guys coming up are really going to be the difference makers for this team. If you want that, or you really think the Phillies could do anything more than what we have seen already, whether it's losing the first round of the playoffs or lose a World Series, the difference is going to be what the young guys do to help carry the workload.
100%. And that's not even counting new guy, Jose Alvarado, coming back to the bullpen. Yes. Expect an all-star year out of that cutter. All right. Believe it. But you're right about Garcia.
Still that big? You were taking it's a weight loss supplement. How are you that much?
He drinks 6 to 12 cups of coffees a day. Let him cook. He throws a 98-mile-an-hour cutter. He's a lefty.
Switch to espresso. All right, let's just do that.
You're 100% right about guys like Garcia, though. I firmly believe that he will be in the cleanup position, solidified by July, and will be a 35 home run guy. That's
my man. All right.
Or he'll be batting $120 and out of the league. But hopefully we go on the good side. Also, quick Phillies points on Orion Kerkering. I'm done. I am done hearing people. Hey, listen to me. I am done hearing people bash this young kid off of one errant throw to home plate. Was it his fault that the Phillies scored one run through 11 innings against the Dodgers? Right. Put your pain in the right direction, people. Orion Kerkering has an opportunity to be a force in this bullpen. If we're going to stand up and applaud Trey Turner for shitting himself for most of his contract year for his first time in Philadelphia, give this kid a shot over, trust me, something he's thinking about 24/7 since the season ended.
Okay. I agree. I will say, okay, let me just, not his fault, agree with that, but it wasn't just a horrible throw. It was a horrible decision. Like, you got your catcher pointed to, I don't want to relive it because, good God, man, that was so horrible. But it was a terrible decision compounded by it was terrible execution of a terrible idea. That's the best way to describe it. He shouldn't have gone home on that. Come on now.
He got caught up in his cockles when he fumbled the ball. That's what happened. He got caught up in his cockles, he panicked, and he went home. You need to tell me you've never been caught up in your cockles in a split decision like that?
I'm all up in the cockles, as a matter of fact.
Exactly. I'm just saying, give the kid a break.
Is caught up in your cockles, is that a real expression, or is that a Smitty special?
It could be. It could be.
Do you know what cockles
Every expression has to come from somewhere.
Do you know? That's what I got to examine. Do you know what cockles are?
I could take a guess.
Well, a lot of people. I'm surprised at how many people.
What do you think your cockles are?
Clams.
What would you?
Clams.
Okay. Well, what'd your Nona do with some cockles back in the Italy days of Cambodia? Where were your ancestors from?
Cambodia. Yeah, Cambodia. That's so great. No, in all honesty, that's exactly. Christmas Eve is obviously a big deal in my house. So the youngest usually. This is going to sound terrible. The youngest has to clean the cockles. And so they're usually scrubbing the sand off the clams in the sink with really cold water. It's a terrible job. It's a terrible job. But so when you say caught up in your cockles, it really does hit. It really does hit close to home for me. For the people just listening on the podcast, I'm crying. I'm laughing so hard.
Well, remember that. Remember the youngest in your family who has to clean the cockles on Christmas Eve when you see Ryan Kirkering struggle out there on the mound attempting to go home during a playoff game. And know that both your young family member and Ryan Kirkering should be blessed with giving the grace going forward that they too can ascend to more glory.
Nick Castellanos comes out of nowhere and be like, it's okay, you clean them cockles. It's all right, buddy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Castellanos, man. What's the one Philly sport? Now, you've been around the block for how long have you been in this business?
I've been. So 05 was my first year, 21 years. This summer it'll be 21 years. Beautiful. I've been a paid member of the media.
What is the one Philly sports take that you will die on?
Wow. I kind of feel like right now I'm dying on Jalen Hurts' hill, and that's a hill I never thought anyone would have to die on.
Yeah, I don't think that's an argument that even should be argued.
Right? Like, here's what I learned this year about Jalen Hurts, okay? So for our entire lives, actually, for all of history, the Philadelphia Eagles have never had a Super Bowl champion franchise quarterback. All right, Nick Foles wasn't a franchise quarterback, obviously. Jalen Hurts has been to 2. Jalen Hurts has won 1. Jalen Hurts could have easily been not the MVP and won but 2 of those Super Bowls. And
even in a loss, he could have been
even in a loss. Okay, right, okay. And I'm sorry, we're still saying, is he the guy? What? I'm sorry, what? We're still asking whether or not he needs to prove it this year. I understand a lot of times it's not the most pretty thing in the world, but when you talk about maybe 2 really bad games for Jalen Hurts, what I talk about a lot is 2 years ago against the Carolina Panthers, the game in which A.J. Brown after the game said, what do you need to work on? Passing. And everyone said Jalen sucks. You go back, and he didn't play that well. He didn't play well at all. The offensive line didn't play well. He wasn't on the same page with Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith wasn't on his same page. A.J. Brown ran the opposite direction on a scramble from Jalen that just made no sense. There were things that went on that game that were really bad. And I remember going back maybe a week later being like, man, Jalen was terrible about that game. And after I watched the game again and looked at the film, I went and I looked at the box score, okay? He had 3 touchdowns in that game against the Panthers. A game that he was so terrible, Smitty. He threw for 2 touchdowns, ran for another one. I'm like, damn, if that's his bad game, he's a pretty good quarterback. Then, they go on to win the Super Bowl. Then another game I look at was this past year against the Chargers where he got 5 turnovers. It was awful. AJ had drops. Jalen played like ass. He didn't see a defensive tackled, dropped back into coverage. It was awful. And still, in overtime, he's got the ball on the 17-yard line with a chance for his team to win the football game. Like, Jalen is just a great quarterback in my eyes. And even in his worst moments, he's still in a position to win football games. And to me, what was really insulting was after the Rams game last year, whatever week that was, 4 or 5, whatever it was, the Eagles are down big in the first half, and then Jalen just airs it out in the second half, and they come back and win. Jordan Davis comes up and blocks the field goal and runs it in for the touchdown. And I remember doing the show with Seth and Gunner, I remember people in the comments being like, I told you Jalen Hurts could throw. And I remember thinking, is this everybody's first day? Like, Jalen Hurts did this in the Super Bowl, for crying out loud, against Steve Spagnuolo's defense. I feel like people pat Jalen Hurts on the head too much. And I just think he's a great quarterback. And to answer your question again, go back to dying on a hill. I feel like I'm going to die on that hill because I feel like people are just going to jump off at any sign of struggle or imperfection.
Well, the problem I have multiple problems with people thinking that Jalen Hurts isn't a franchise quarterback for this Philadelphia Eagles team. Number one, the points that you stated, he has led this team to 2 Super Bowls already. And in those Super Bowls, 1 win, 1 loss, he is, I think, top 7 quarterback performances in all-time Super Bowls. Both. He has performed up to that level. People in this town have such a selective memory. Do we remember what it was like before Jalen Hurts and even before Carson Wentz? Mm-hmm. Like, Wentz, and Wentz will be a hill that I die on to an extent. Wentz, his last full season in Philadelphia, he was the only quarterback ever to throw for 4,000 yards. And that was throwing to Greg Ward as his top wide receiver. So, Carson Wentz, he had his faults, and he had, obviously, his talent imperfections coming back and stuff going on in his mind and a little bit of ego. But he was a very good franchise quarterback for the time that he was here. Before that, we had a year with Michael Vick. We had a potential Kevin Kolb. We had McNabb years, who I love McNabb growing up watching him, but he is nowhere near completing. He nowhere near completed anything close to the success that Jalen Hurts is providing us, in which Hurts has a number of years left. We are spoiled. We're spoiled with Jalen Hurts, a quarterback, and we're going to run him out of town by asking if he's a franchise quarterback? Like, what are we doing?
I'm out, man. I just think the guy's great. And what's amazing to me is those lists come out every year. And to me, the lists that come out that always have Jalen Hurts behind Justin Herbert, for instance, which just makes me want to bang my bald head against the wall.
He's talented.
I love it. Don't make me say exactly. Don't make me say mean things about Justin Herbert because I like Justin Herbert. But when you start talking about him being better than Jalen Hurts, I'm like, you don't understand the game that's being played right now. If you want to run a quarterback camp, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, hire Justin Herbert before you hire Jalen Hurts. Because Jalen Hurts has so many other intangibles that just can't be taught. It just can't be taught. The guy's just a gamer.
One more Philly sports take before we go back to that a little bit. One take that over your career that you have completely changed your mind on. Something that maybe you look back on maybe we're a little rough on that one.
These are really good questions, man. It really makes me think because I tend to not.
See, this is what Philly sports media tends not to do. They tend not to be introspective at all.
It's all about the next show. It's all about the next show, man. It's all about the next show. Tuesdays, Monday's over. Get the Tuesday. That
exactly.
Yeah, it's.
So I'll get mine. But
go ahead.
One take I've completely changed my mind on. Howie Roseman. And is it because I could not feasibly conceive with the facts presented in front of my face 2 Super Bowl winning rosters, another Super Bowl that you've attained over your 16 years now as GM of the Philadelphia Eagles? I was a Howie hater for a long, long time. And, drafting kickers in the 4th round and Marcus Smith and other questionable tales, especially what happened around Chip Kelly, I felt validated in that. But now, I have no problem saying I was completely wrong about Howie Roseman. Good for Howie. Good for Howie. I trust his decision making. Always trusted his salary cap ability. I mean, he's always been a wizard behind the scenes. But I have no problem admitting I was wrong with Howie Roseman.
I would agree. That's a great one, because I remember even at the time thinking, what great GM was ever told, do less? As a matter of fact, get in the broom closet, as you know, the jokes have been made, and then come back and been great. If I would have told you, or told Philadelphia, that after Chip Kelly, Howie's going to come back, you're going to win a Super Bowl 2 years after that, and then he's going to go on to go back to another Super Bowl with another head coach and quarterback, then go back again with that same head coach and quarterback and win three Super Bowls, 8 years, I would have said, you're the craziest person alive. So, yeah, definitely wrong on Howie. That's a great one. But, I mean, maybe buying in so much to the 76ers moves, Ben Simmons would be one that I would look back on and be like, you know what? When he was drafted, I remember really liking Brandon Ingram and really having a problem with Ben Simmons' work ethic at LSU. But everybody told you, it's just LSU. He doesn't even want to do this. He's doing it because he has to. He's doing it as a family favor. His godfather was the assistant coach, whatever it was. And I just remember watching a couple of games of him at LSU. And I was never a bigger college basketball fan than when the Sixers were going through the process, because I just looked at NCAA as a real farm system, you know? And I remember watching a couple of games at LSU, and I think it was a Texas Tech game or something, where he was, everything was in the paint. I think he had 30 points maybe. It was something ridiculous, but it just looked like it was so easy to him, and he just didn't give a damn. But it was effortless. So you thought, okay, maybe it is just about getting to the next level. And then the continued same type of player you saw year after year, where he was a great defender because he was an extremely willing defender, but the inability to grow his offensive game, it was like, and I even questioned the $170 million rookie max deal they gave him, being like, well, wait a minute. I remember questioning that at the time, but okay, well, they're really betting on him, and then everything went to hell. So that's one. That's one I'll look back on and be like, yeah, I was definitely wrong.
So Ben Simmons getting drafted, and we have the ability and excuse me, we have the honor of hindsights with it. There is no possible way at that time the Philadelphia 76ers were even considering anybody besides Ben Simmons as an number one overall pick. This guy was Magic Johnson 2.0 coming out of college, talent-wise. He could play the 5, he could play the 1, he could basically do anything. And obviously it didn't work out. But I challenge anybody listening to this, go back and watch Ben Simmons' rookie summer league highlights and try not to weep.
Didn't he only play in 2 games?
Before he rolled his ankle in those 2 games, watch it and oh my God. Just see what we missed out on. Sure. He is shooting from everywhere. He's not doing threes, but he's fade away from the foul line. You see the potential of it. And I occasionally, whenever I want a good cry, I will go back and watch those summer league highlights.
How about Markelle Fultz? I'll talk about Markelle Fultz then, because I like Markelle Fultz, but I went back and I remember watching him go against Lonzo Ball, and Lonzo Ball was out for blood in that game. And Markelle Fultz, if there was a game that was a red flag, it would be that game. Because that game, Markelle Fultz looked like he was getting slapped around.
Yeah, but I'm not even going to hate on Markelle Fultz as a Sixer. You want to know why?
Why?
Because the freaking management of the Colangelos traded up over Jason Tatum to get him.
Uh-huh.
This 19-year-old out of Washington who got drafted number 1 overall and all of a sudden couldn't shoot free throws anymore. I'm not going to blame that. I'm going to blame the people
was going to take him
who
number 1.
So why?
Other than Boston, obviously.
Yeah, other than Boston. We got hoodwinked.
We did.
We got hoodwinked for a Hall of Fame player, mind you. Jason Tatum, Hall of Fame. We're getting off track. See,
it is hard for me because here's one thing. I don't just, here's an opinion, throw it against the wall. It sticks or it doesn't. Like, I actually do go and I watch film, and I do try to really understand what I'm saying before I say it. So everything in the moment is how I really feel. You know what I mean? It's not what's the hottest take I can come up with. It's like I look at it and I go, yeah, I was wrong about things, but at the time, context is everything.
Well, that's why specifically you in the Philly sports media, I've always liked and respected because you've
Thank you, brother.
never gone the rage bait or hot take routes. You genuinely haven't, and that's consistent over your 21 years in Philly sports media.
Thank you,
And
brother.
you've been on all the programs, all the sides. You've been on 97.5, been WIP. You work now with a bunch of programs across the board, um, and you're also independent. So what's harder, building your own thing over the past couple of years, or working within the system and having to play that sports media political game?
For me, it doing the show is the easiest part. And yeah, when you're in radio and part of big business and all that stuff, you got to talk to the sales team. And even though they tell you shouldn't talk to the sales, let us do that management. It's like, no, that's something will fall through the cracks. I rather have that conversation. I'd rather be hands on or talk to promotions or whatever. So there's hoops you got to jump through in every aspect. The radio world for me was a lot easier than the digital world, because the digital world, you got to do so much on your own, whether it's sales, whether it's technical issues that might come up here and then. You're on your own. Doing my own thing independently for 5 years has been awesome, and there's so many advantages. And you got young kids as well. You could be there for your young kids. You make your schedule, generally speaking. It's great in that regard, so you're a lot more available to your family. I hate to go to the money aspect of it, but when I was in radio, I didn't know the digital world could be this good, and it is. It's great. And if you're talking about the availability, it's fantastic as well, but you got to make sure that you're kind of, herky-jerky with your schedule a little bit. I do work for another larger company called Locked On that I do post-game shows for Phillies, Sixers. I do stuff with them for those, and I also do a daily Sixers podcast with my man Keith Pompey. That's great too. I enjoy the freedom. I enjoy the fact that I'm producing it myself. There are the other aspects where I never thought I'd have to play the role of an engineer, but there we are. But at the same time, I also don't have to go into a studio. I don't have to fight traffic. I don't have to drive around looking for parking or anything. There's little wins that are actually big wins when you think about it. But I love it. I absolutely love it. If you would have told me this world existed when I was in college, like I remember when I was at when I was in Temple University, we had a radio station, WHIP. Not WRTI, WHIP. That was just in its infancy stages, just getting on the internet. We didn't even have really social media other than Facebook and MySpace. If you would have told me that this world existed, I tell kids when I go to talk to colleges, this world is so crazy now because if you're looking for a job, stop, hire yourself. Like, what are you doing? Like, you can start your own YouTube channel. You can have your own Instagram account. You can have your own TikTok. Put your stuff up there. Give your reactions to the games. You're talking about sports. And if it hits, then all of a sudden you can monetize it and you have a job. So, I love this world. This digital world is great. I also love the fact that I own my words. I don't have to answer if something happens, and I don't really get into politics, but if something happens and I feel the need as an American citizen to say something, I can say it. And I don't give a rat's ass. If somebody wants to come and talk to me about it, in management, quote unquote, they don't exist. So I love it. I absolutely love the freedom of it. I can talk about whatever I want. If one end of the scale, obviously, is when the world lights itself on fire, you want to mention it, you can mention it. Other end of the scale, something funny happened to me, I can talk about it. Like you can talk about whatever you want. I love being the boss. That part I do love.
Not exactly in big business are you able to talk about cleaning your cockles.
Yeah. You kidding me? I would have led with that. I would have led with that on the radio. You kidding me?
And also being independent, what you're doing now digitally, you don't have to worry about people like Angelo Cataldi and Howard Eskin coming over the top in their retired years telling you how much you suck on the Philly sports radio.
16 years in radio. Yeah, would have been 16 years. Or it was 16 years. I produced for Howard Eskin for a year and a half. I worked with Angelo for 13 years, off and on. 13 years. I was a couple other assignments I was on, but mostly the morning show while I was there. I don't even know what they said about WIP or the Fanatic, if it was who it was directed at specifically. I assume WIP.
Oh, I'll just read it right here.
Please, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so they were talking on a podcast themselves.
It was Howard's podcast, I believe.
Yes. Angelo said when asking about WIP, I stopped listening, Cataldi told Eskin. I don't listen at all anymore. The reason is because I would hear something and I would go, well, no, that's not the way that you should do it. I did this for 33 years. I know how to do it. I get to the point. It's frustrating me that when I listen. Understandable at that point. People will email me all the time if it was to lose a big playoff game, and the next day the host will talk about how nobly they fought. That's not the Philadelphia I was in. When you don't win here, you should pay a price. People don't want to turn on the radio anymore, Eskin said, and Eskin gets personal. Radio is a dying business. It's sad because both of our careers were great for sports talk radio, but it's a business that's almost dead. There was some good people there at 94 WIP, his son included, his very own blood included. But they don't have enough good people there, and they're not alone. Talent doesn't exist that way. Used to in talk radio, it's just the way it is. He doesn't bring up the fact that producers in radio are also paid $13 an hour now. That's
first off. As someone, when I produced Howard Eskin, I made $8 an hour for 4 hours of work a day, and I think at one point I was able to beg for an extra hour of pay so I could get paid to prep for the show I was about to produce. I come to think of it, I don't think that ever happened. I don't think I got that extra hour of pay, but I still had to do it because I wanted to be good at my job.
But you fought very nobly.
There,
you did. You
I gave myself a standing ovation.
Yes.
I cleaned the hell out of those cockles. Yeah, so thank you for reading me that. I saw that they said something. I saw the reaction for it before I had really seen what they said. But when I saw the reaction, I stood and I applauded Angelo and Howard. I did. And I don't have a bad word to say about anybody at WIP, and I wish them nothing but success. I haven't listened to sports talk radio consistently in a while because if I'm in the car, generally it's with my kids and K-pop Demon Hunters is on, not sports talk radio. And when I'm home, I'm working on my
Great movie, by the way.
I haven't even seen it. I just know the soundtrack, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
But when I'm home, I'm working on my next show, so it's not for me to listen to other people's opinions. So I love Joe DeCamera, he's a great guy. I love John Ritchie, everybody over there, Joe Giglio, everyone in the afternoon show, phenomenal. Hunter Brody, great dude. Broads, awesome. I can't weigh in on it because I don't hear it. But when I saw Angelo and Howard, two guys I've worked for, two guys I know, get the attention they got, I stood and applauded because they're not trying to be accurate. They're not trying to paint the real picture. They're doing what they have always done and done extremely well, which is get attention. Sure. That is what the maestros are still playing. All right, the puppeteers are still pulling the strings. If I'm Howard, if I'm Angelo, and I'm seeing the reaction that I got for this, I'm thinking, yep, still got it. So yeah. I looked at the outrage that it caused, and I literally didn't laugh at anyone. Don't take it that way. I just laughed because I know the parties that are pulling the strings, and I know their goal, and I just thought, oh, they still got it. They might say they don't have their fastball anymore, but they still got their fastball. There's also an evolution here that I think we need to talk about too, and whether it was tabloids in England in the 1800s or whatever, or it's, the very many podcasts out there, the very many writing publications. Like when you and I were growing up, you were at WIP, you were at Comcast, or you wrote for the Inquirer, and then maybe or Daily News. Now it's everyone's got their own thing, which is great, but everyone is still competing for eyeballs. Like I love how I'll get the question, especially for
everyone was forced to listen to WIP.
It was you want to listen to sports, that's what you had on. So that's certainly the Fanatic wasn't around obviously at that time.
Or if you just wanted to ride in the car with your father, that's what.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The evolution of it is that The world has always been about eyeballs and ears, but now the competition is so much greater for eyeballs and ears. That's just the way it is. Nowadays, you talk about clickbait, you talk about rage bait, you talk about just attention-grabbing headlines. If it bleeds, it leads. It's now, I think, more competitive than it's ever been. And from what I understand for some people in radio, that's been reflected in salaries, unfortunately for them. But when that many eyeballs and ears are being diverted and diluted to other things to concentrate on, you got to be more hot takey, more bleeds it leads, more rage baiting, and all that.
Yeah, and do you think
it's the evolution of it?
Do you think that's good?
No.
Yeah,
that's
the thing. It's like we're stuck.
Yeah, there's a lot of noise out there. So here's what I really hate. And this is something else I've mentioned to schools and stuff. But the thing that really gets me is these fake posts that are strictly there for attention. And it's even to the point where you'll see typos just to get the comment of the person writing about the typo in the headline. Like a simple, it's too much, and it's like T-O, not T-O-O, and people will just comment. Or they'll repeat a word in a headline just so people call it out, so you get the comments and you get pushed down that algorithm a little bit more. Or it'll be a picture of I just saw this, Jason Kelce proposes to another woman. And it was like, what? I didn't click on it, but it just came up in my algorithm. And I was like, what the hell? It's clearly wrong. There was another one recently where it was, hey, Vince Papale's dead. And I'm like, Vince Papale's not dead. I just saw him post on his actual account. And then, a day later, I see Vince Papale post, not dead.
It's a dog-eat-dog world in the content.
Yeah, but those people that post that are being rewarded for that. Yeah. And that's what I hate. You're being the accuracy is no longer the currency. Attention is the currency. And that to me is awful. And on a side of it, just from someone that's obviously worked in TV as well, I've been told by people in management, it's like, don't even worry about being the first to the story. Other people will be first. We just write about it. And I'm like, well, what about being trustworthy as the people that have the information? That's just a philosophy that I don't agree with. So
yeah, Denzel Washington had a great quote on that evolution.
If you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you do read it, you're misinformed. What is the long-term effect of too much information? One of the effects is the need to be first, not even to be true anymore. So what a responsibility you all have to tell the truth, not just to be first, but to tell the truth. We live in a society now where it's just first. Who cares? Get it out there. We don't care who it hurts. We don't care who we destroy. We don't care if it's true. Just say it, sell it. Anything you practice, you'll get good at, including BS.
One more Angelo take. He had a quote today where he called everyone in Philadelphia media pussies. I'll just read the quote. I think we did it in a more courageous and more honest way than they do it now. And if that's a problem, good. Get upset. I don't really care. I didn't care when the players got upset. I didn't care when the managers got upset. Angelo, phenomenal interview.
Oh, the best ever. The best
phenomenal
ever.
Interview. I'm going to care when fellow talk show hosts get upset. No, I don't really give a damn. I mean, here's a man who is just cranky in retirement. I kind of like it. Here's the problem. WIP is a much bigger story. No one's doing it other than Marcus Hayes. Marcus Hayes is still doing it. Now it stands out. No one will take a strong opinion on anything. No one wants to go near it. Even the really talented writers are not going after a hot opinion now. They're not going after strong takes on big issues. That's my complaint. It's not exclusive to WIP. It's everywhere in Philadelphia right now. The pussies have taken over. Angelo Cataldi.
All right.
March 17, 2026.
I'll say this. I think Marcus Hayes doesn't give a damn what anybody thinks, what anybody says about him. I think he just writes what he wants to write. And I don't think he just throws things out there. I think he really believes what he's putting out there. I even use this in my own philosophy, and maybe this is why I don't think I ever do hot takes. I always like to invoke the George Costanza line. It's not a hot take if you believe it. You know what I mean? And just because it's something you're not willing to believe doesn't mean it's a hot take. Just because I think Tyrese Maxey is a bust, and I don't, but if I really thought that, I would say it. it might not be a hot take. It might be how I really feel. Just because you're not ready to hear it doesn't make it a hot take. But back to Angelo. Again, is that not how you would want someone to feel who has done it for as long as he's done it? Like, to me, I think, and being in my 40s now, I know I have a hint of this, and I can only imagine what's going to happen if, God willing, I make it another 40 years and all that. It's going to be, our generation was better, your generation sucks. Like, that's the way it's always going to be. So someone who did it as long as he did and was successful as long as it was, there's only one way to do it his way. Anyone who does it different is doing it wrong. That's not true, but if you're in his shoes, that's the way you would look at it.
You're not wrong about the generational thing. As someone being in their 40s, what, you like K-pop Demon Hunters? Try Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Exactly.
That's how real men were made.
Exactly. I have thought of that. I've thought of that about a lot. Yeah.
Leave you with this, media-wise. If there was one Philadelphia sports person in the media, dead or alive, that you would partner with, who would it be? Or that you would want to work with?
One sports media person, dead or alive. I always really loved Stan Hochman.
Great choice.
The great Stan Hochman was just always tell it like it is, and knew how to be extremely firm with his opinions, but in a way that really he always made you feel like he was coaching you. He wasn't coming down on you, and that's something I always really appreciated about Stan Hochman. So I miss that guy. I wasn't like best friends with him or anything like that. I got to know him a little bit through his time doing the Grand Poobah stuff at WIP, and when he'd come by the studio and all that. I just admired the hell out of him. He'd certainly be up there on that list. And if not, I'll go former player in Hugh Douglas and Trey Thomas. Those are my boys. Those are my guys.
All right. Love it. Yeah, Stan Hochman was a great inspiration to grow up with in journalism. And asked great questions in Rocky V as well. Absolutely.
Question. We know the rating system can be manipulated. The bottom line is Tommy Gunn beat a second-rate fighter with so much glass in his jaw he ought to be a chandelier.
Say what you want.
He wanted to change that line. Do you know that story?
No,
he's like, I got a better line. And the Sly Stallone was like, no, you don't. And then there you go. That was the end of that. But so he read the line that he was asked to read, and that was that.
That's a shame. I bet if Hochman was allowed to do his line, Rocky V probably would have gotten better reviews. That's what it comes down to.
Absolutely. You wouldn't even need a Rocky Balboa franchise. You know what I mean?
Mark, appreciate you, my friend. Appreciate you.
Man, congrats on the podcast. This was a lot of fun. Great questions, brother.
Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Rise up, weary warriors, the battle's in the air. Not with violence, but with power in the words we declare. We fight from victory. The darkness has to flee. Step into the light, and the light steps into me. I saw warfare in the spirit, shadows moving in the night. But heaven sent a message. It's our time to rise and fight. Not with anger, not with weapons, but with truth that cuts like flame. Every prayer becomes a sword when we decree in Jesus' name. Intercessors, take your places, lift your voices to the sky. Send up blessings, send up fire. Let the sound shake every lie. Guard your families, guard your peace. Stand in power, stand in grace. When the darkness tries to press in, we confront it face to face. Rise up, brave warriors. The battle's in the air. steps into me. I decree and I declare, we are covered, we are held. Every scheme against our households will be shattered, will be stopped. The light is always stronger, darkness bows and must retreat. When it stands before our power, it has no strength to speak. There's no going back to shadows. I'm advancing in the fight. Angels move in unseen places, pushing back the endless night. We will win against the forces that have tried to take our peace. Every warrior standing with me knows the victory's guaranteed. Fighting people, traipsing over every wall. I decree the darkness has to lose its hold. I decree angels fight on every sound. I decree the victory given for us all. I decree the tower as the arming me. I decree the shadows fall like instantly. I decree the kingdom breaking through the night. I decree the warriors standing in the light. Warriors, the battle's in the air. Not with violence, but with power in the wars we begun. We fight from victory. The darkness has to flee. I step into the light, and the light steps into me. The darkness froze in fear when the warriors rise, declaring peace and protection. The darkness falls and has to